Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Mindset channel. Tonight is going to be about Queen. I know some of you like Queen. We're going to be talking about the song Another One Bites the Dust and that iconic bass line. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and I'm going to try my best to not get any copyright tonight. That's my goal. That iconic bass line was created by John Deacon of Queen. Now, while John hasn't extensively detailed the specific catalyst for writing Another One Bites the Dust, there is some information available about the creation of the iconic bass line. Good Times. I know y'all remember that. Good Time. We are good times, which was written by Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers. The story goes that Deacon was impressed with the funk and groove of Good Times, and he wanted to create a similarly infectious bass line for the Queen's song they were creating. Chic's members Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers, upon hearing Another One Bites the Dust, were reportedly upset initially because they thought that Queen had copied the bass line from Good Times. However, after meeting with Queen and discussing the matter, they realized it was a simple case of musical inspiration rather than plagiarism. In fact, both parties developed a mutual respect for each other's work. Now, this incident led to a collaboration between Queen and Chic on the song Under Pressure, which you know, Ice Ice Baby. Later on, both bands worked together to create a unique and influential track. Under Pressure became another iconic song, showing the creative potential that can emerge when talented musicians come together. Now, we're going to bring another prominent artist into the conversation who had something to do with this, Michael Jackson. Queen's frontman, Freddie Mercury, said that the credit for the song should go to Michael Jackson for a number of reasons. Freddie said, "He was a fan and friend of ours and kept telling me, 'Freddie, you need a song that cats can dance to,'" Mercury explained. Freddie says, "John Deacon introduced the riff to us during a rehearsal that we all immediately thought of disco, which was very popular at the time." Freddie continued, "I knew we had a hit as Michael bobbed his head up and down. That's it. That's the gravy," Michael said. "Release it and it will top the charts." So we did it. And it was Michael Jackson who pushed the band to release that song and promote their album, The Game. Now, this was clearly the right call because the single went on to top the charts around the globe. The song also appeared in an early version of Rocky III before it was replaced by Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. Most of you probably didn't know that. That song, Another One Bites the Dust, was actually in the original Rocky III movie instead of Eye of the Tiger. Queen also said that Michael was a devoted fan of Queen, and he would come to some of their concerts to witness their electrifying performances. Queen's frontman said that he credited Jackson for the song's success, recalling how the pop legend insisted that they needed a tune that cats can dance to. You go, Michael. So for a minute, I'm going to jump over to V-Man, let him tell you a little bit more about that song and that group, and I'll come right back and we'll look at some of those bass lines and see exactly what was going on.
Well, I guess Another One Bites the Dust. Nope, I mean the song, Another One Bites the Dust. Anyway. Today, we're diving into the legendary rock band Queen and one of their iconic tracks, Another One Bites the Dust. Before we explore the funky bass line, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Queen, formed in London in the early 1970s, is a band that needs no introduction. With a lineup featuring the incomparable Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, they carved their name into the annals of rock history. Known for their genre-defying sound and electrifying performances, Queen became a global phenomenon. Now, let's zero in on Another One Bites the Dust. Released in 1980 as part of their 8th studio album, The Game, this track took the world by storm. Written by bassist John Deacon, it marked a departure from Queen's typical sound, embracing a funk and disco vibe that resonated with audiences far and wide. The song's infectious groove and catchy bass line catapulted it to the top of the charts. Another One Bites the Dust became Queen's best-selling single, selling over 7 million copies worldwide. It's not only a staple in their discography, but a timeless anthem that continues to captivate new generations. Beyond its commercial success, the track's impact goes beyond numbers. Its influence can be heard across various genres, from hip-hop to pop, proving the enduring legacy of Queen's innovative approach to music. Now that we've set the stage, let's pass the mic back to our reactor, who's ready to break down that iconic bass line. Take it away, Mr. Mindset.
Yep, man, I remember that back in the days when that song came out. Good Times by Chic, man, that was crazy in the, I think it was like 78, 79, something like that. And Queen came out with theirs in 1980, I believe it was. But when that Chic song came out, man, that was crazy. And that Chic song, if you don't know, it turned into a bigger hit when it was added to the song called Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. I know you know that. And most of you probably know the words to that song with a hip, hop, a hibbity, and all that type of stuff like that. But what I want to do right now is I want to take a look at these bass lines because there's even more to this story. This iconic bass line has so many branches to where it came from and where it went to. We know that Deacon said he was inspired by Chic's Bernard Edwards and their bass line from Good Times. So now I want to take a look at exactly where this song, Another One Bites the Dust, came from. John Deacon got it from Good Times bass line by Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers. And their version went something like this. Something like that. You know, it was played in rhythm. I'm not going to play that rhythm, but you know, you can hear it was a minor scale that they were playing, like an E minor scale that they're playing in that. So John Deacon came up with this from that. That's his bass line from Another One Bite the Dust. But here's something even deeper. Now, Nile and Bernard were complaining that Queen looked like they had stole their bass line from Chic. But at the same time, Nile and Bernard had to admit they got their bass line from another old song that some of you might remember by Kool and the Gang called Hollywood Swingin', which went something like this. All right. Y'all need me to play them in comparison. Okay, we'll just do it. So we got Chic, Queen, Kool and the Gang. So what this tells us that it's nothing original. Everybody's inspired by somebody else, and Queen is no different. Chic is no different. Hollywood Swingin' by Kool and the Gang. If we looked it up, we'll figure out where their inspiration came from. But I found this quite interesting. This is all kinds of branches. We got Michael Jackson in here. We got Ice Ice Baby in here. What was that like? All these different bass lines made a lot of money, made some names for some bands, but all of this stuff comes from something that came before them. And I find that quite interesting how music inspires other people to create other things. So, you know, copyright is one thing. Someone says they created something, but they got it from somewhere else. You can pretty much believe that. But that's pretty much the story on Queen and Another One Bites the Dust. I never knew that back in the day. This is what I didn't know as a kid. When I heard Good Times that year, and then I think it was the following year or so, late 70s, Sugar Hill Gang came out with that song Rapper's Delight, and I was like, oh man, that's Good Time. And then I heard another one, Bites the Dust, and I said, wait a minute, that sounds like Good Time. But when you listen to the parts individually, you realize they're all different. They're all pretty much in the same key, but they're all different, which is a good thing, because without what they did, we wouldn't have great songs like we have. And Queen would have never had an opportunity to put out that song. That was a $7 million selling single. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the rambling. I just found it quite interesting when I was listening to this song. I was seeing some information on how the songs were tied in, and then I ended up finding that Chic actually got that groove from Kool and the Gang. And I was like, man, this is a great story, man. I never knew any of this stuff back in the day. I just heard music and had something to dance to, but there's a lot more to this song, Another One Bites the Dust, than probably most of us ever thought about or ever knew about. So I hope you find that interesting, and I hope you come back to the Music Mindset channel again for some more interesting facts or some type of knowledge that you can gain from watching some of these videos. I appreciate you every time you come back. I'll see you on the next video.